Aloha friends and welcome back. Today we thought it would be a good day to make another video and update you on what we're up to, our progress here at the property. The winter has passed, the rainy season has passed, and we have lots of sunshine. It's a lot warmer now. Weeds are growing like crazy, and so are our plants and trees.
As many of you are aware, we are working toward establishing a place where we can live debt-free and be self-sufficient for the necessities of life. As you may have noticed in past videos, we have a lot of breezes blowing through our property, and that has sort of limited the sound quality on some of our past videos. And so we've invested in some microphones to help with that. So drop us a note in the comments below and let us know if the audio is improved. There are pretty much constant breezes coming off the ocean and blowing through this property.
Like right now.
Yes. But that makes it quite pleasant. It keeps it cool.
Yes.
And it's really a wonderful blessing, actually.
Yes. Well, what have we been up to since last time they saw us?
Well, we've been pretty much working nonstop since that last time. That's the reason why you haven't seen much videos, is not that we don't have anything to say, but just we don't have time to say it. So today is Sunday. We have one day a week where we can set aside toward working toward our goals here on the property. The other days of the week, after I finish my work shifts, I come here almost each day and do as much as I can before nightfall. But this is kind of a special time where we have a day as a family here together. And we've been doing a lot of things. Now, keep in mind that for some of you that, perhaps it might feel to you that some of the progress is slow here on the property. And one of the reasons why it may seem so is that we are actually financing everything ourselves. Every step of this project we are financing and paying for in cash. And so that takes more time than if you were just to get a bank to issue you a check and then boom, you can buy everything all at once. And so, it's kind of like slow and steady wins the race. We're kind of like that tortoise that every day, all night, we're making inches of progress.
Yeah, we'll get there. And I thought another thing is, I think it's encouraging for some of you to watch our progress and not see us just, bam, we did everything in 1 year or something. Because a lot of you experience delays and discouragements, and, we're right there with you. So I thought it would be encouraging for you to see that it's not just all just easy and fast.
Yes, and in many of our videos we mention the setbacks that we faced 3 years ago when we lost our home and our farm in a natural disaster. And we share that over and over again for two reasons. Number one, YouTube analytics show us that a lot of the people who watch each video are new to the channel and they don't know our backstory. And number two, it's not for sympathy, it's so that we can encourage you. That you got to realize 3 years ago we went from debt-free living on our other property to being broke again, and then we're starting over in a considerably more expensive time in a more expensive area, and so the costs are very high. The point is that there are a lot of challenges, and that if we can get through these challenges in one of the most expensive places to do this, certainly you can in your neck of the woods.
Amen. Well, why don't we take you with us on a little tour around the property just to show you what we've been up to, and you can see some of our progress. So let's go. All right, got my hat on. We're going into the sun. So where should we go first, Ryan?
Well, we're going to head over here to this hillside.
Okay.
This is the windiest portion of the property we're on right now. And we're setting up some things here to be sort of windbreaks on the edge of the property. We have in the near future some plans for some useful bamboo, edible and maybe for timber bamboo for a building that we're going to be putting in this area over here. But for now, we're developing this hillside in other useful crops. We have a row of 5 coconut palms. We have quite a bit of sugar canes that we've planted here. This is about 6 different kinds of sugar cane.
Yeah, I know it looks like weeds right now, but it's actually sugar cane, like all the way there.
So we have sugar cane all the way down, and recently I've kind of become inspired to to grow quite a bit more sugarcane, and we're looking into getting a sugarcane juicer to juice our own sugarcane juice. So, so we're going to be planting a lot more sugarcane. We've got a row of especially wind-resistant Goldfinger bananas.
They are so tall now.
Yeah, these when we bought them, of course, they were really tiny.
Yeah.
And they're making good progress. And so this is a temporary windbreak and also food production. Keep in mind that bananas, when they're ripe, of course, they can be eaten as a fruit, but when they're green, you can cook them something like a starchy potato. And so...
Oh, we started a little area here. Let's show them real quick. We put some cardboard down and covered it with mulch right here. And we're growing some pigeon peas here. This particular pigeon peas we put here for the shade for this little plant. This is Chempadek.
This is a little tree that requires some shade.
Yes. And then these pigeon peas, can you show them, Ryan, how tall they are? Like, look how massive they are. And they already have flowers.
And so this will be a really good...
And we just planted them when?
Yeah, I think,
a couple months ago?
think these are a couple months old. You have one here that's already flowering nicely.
Yes.
But before long, we'll have some good peas that we can eat, and also we can propagate and spread more these plants around the property, because these, not only do they provide shade for some of the younger plants, but they improve and enrich the soil.
Yes.
We have some of our native peppers here that are growing. These are some nice little yellow peppers. And actually you can see them here.
Oh, look.
Look, here's a...
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. And we just recently planted some new strawberry papayas.
Yeah, and there's another one right there.
So we're planting more and more of those every week. We've got some Jamaican lilikoi or passion fruit that we're growing here. This is one of our favorite passion fruits.
Do you want to talk about this black stuff?
Yeah, so we are trying to figure out how to minimize our workload around the property. Upkeep is really challenging. And so we don't want to just spend all our time maintaining, which is hard enough. We want to actually be pushing forward and making progress toward living here on the property. And so one thing to help us with that is we're putting down thousands of feet of this weed barrier. And so this is sort of a commercial grade weed barrier. And we're going to be just putting it around fence lines and putting it other places, so we have less and less weed eating to do, less and less upkeep to do. So it's a great assistance in that process.
So there's that hill again. From this side, looks even better.
So right now we have a bunch of soursops here, but soon we'll likely replace these and relocate these and put here a windbreak of certain rain-resistant mangoes. And so we plan quite a number of mangoes, maybe about 10 in total, that we'll have around the property as windbreaks, so that the young trees in here, they can grow without so much challenges from the wind, and also this will produce a lot of food for the family.
Oh, do you want to talk about the vetiver grass?
Sure. So despite all of our expense and efforts in bulldozing the property correctly for prevention of erosion during the high rainfall winter months, we found that we lost a lot of soil last year in certain areas, and the rain tends to run down here and run off the property. And so we did some research, and we've just recently found and planted some vetiver grass. These are some starts here. And what these are going to do is they're going to grow. They're going to grow to be like about this big each, and they're going to grow up, and they're going to be sort of a wall that will filter the water as it goes through, slowing the water, reducing erosion, and overall retaining the soil. So we've recently also been planting cassava or tapioca, and we've got some of our locally indigenous kind of squashes that we're growing here. We started growing some Hawaiian varieties of tomato, and so here you can see some of those here. We got to stake that one up. It's getting heavy and falling down. Of course, we have lots and lots of moringa, which we eat the leaves, and so the way we use this is we will, pull off the leaves, and we will put these in pots of beans and other soups and things of that nature, and we will have tremendous nutrition from this. If I was just gonna start with one thing to grow for my family to improve nutrition in that, I would grow moringa.
Definitely.
Someday I might make a video on that. So here's the small tree orchard. Everything's growing. Some things more than others. This, of course, is the Brazilian cherry, the gramachama, as they call it in Australia and other parts of the world.
Yeah, we're trying to put a lot of trees in cages because they do so much better.
We are finding absolutely that those trees that we start off in cages are doing much better than the others.
This is Anna apple.
Yeah, this is our apple, which we've shared with you guys before. This is the Israeli apple, the low chill variety, grows well in the tropics. And when we bought this thing, it was so small and kind of pathetic looking, and it's grown incredibly well in just a few months. So many things that we planted, got terribly chewed up by the bugs initially, and once we put them in the cages, they've just bloomed and done so well as far as their foliage.
Like this one looks amazing.
This is a yellow ras sapote, which is similar to egg fruit. Here in this section of the yard we have our food islands. These are all relatively young. This is the most recent planted one. This one is kind of like kitchen herbs. And over here we have our second most recent one. You can sort of see the progression and how they grow. This is, we have edible leaves, pineapples, Tongan spinach, banana, cranberry hibiscus. This is the katuk green. And then if you step over here, you can see what just a few months' time does for it. And so here we have things like Brazilian spinach and sweet potato as the ground cover. We've got lots of papayas spread throughout here. Our favorite, cooking green, which is the edible hibiscus leaf or Tongan spinach. And
papayas?
It's just really taking off. Taro, of course, we have the taro growing around the edges.
Look at this papaya, it's so big, yeah?
Yeah. So we're
really excited about this garden.
A lot of progress in just a few months. And
it's
at the
really
center,
like a food forest now.
At the center, we've got a banana.
That's right.
The native weed grasses, we call it cane grass. It grows so fast in the summer, it's very hard to keep up with. So putting down more of this weed barrier is a tremendous help in cutting back our labor here on the property.
And look at the bananas again. They are getting really big.
So one of the major infrastructure improvements we've made over the last couple months is this. And so this is a driveway, a gravel driveway that we have running up from another area of the property to the house site. And so we do this in 3 stages. One is we scrape the ground and just make it nice and level. Then we buy a high quality road fabric that goes underneath. And then we apply 2.5-inch minus rock. And the reason why we invest in the road fabric, which isn't particularly cheap, is that here the ground is so soft that whatever rock you put will in time kind of sink into the earth and disappear. And so it's better to get the road fabric in place, and it will kind of hold the rock and preserve your road. So with this recent addition, we've added about 400 feet of gravel driveway, and this is ultimately leading to the house site, which will be over here. And we're going to pause where it is for now, just because we're not quite sure about the layout of the house. And once we figure that out, we can finish the driveway and get it right up to where the garage will be.
So here's the driveway going all the way down to the entrance.
And ultimately, it would be nice to someday add asphalt on this. We're not sure if that will become a reality, but right now we've got more important things to spend money on. And the reason why this was essential is that you cannot get a cement truck up to a site to pour a house pad unless you have a road there. And so this is kind of has to come before we actually build the house. And another thing that's worth mentioning is that when you're buying a property like this, it's really a valuable addition if you already have established driveways, roads, etc. This particular property has a lot of driveway. It has well over half a mile. It's probably close to 3/4 of a mile of driveways now. So all of that adds up to a lot of expense. And fortunately, much of the driveways came with the property, and so that was one of the bonuses. In fact, we have more than a quarter mile is paved with asphalt, and so that was a real blessing. So while we had some equipment here doing this work for us, we had them do some other things to help us out. And we decided to get them to lend us a hand with fruit tree holes. As you know, we've been digging a lot of fruit tree holes, and they're typically 4 foot by 4 foot by 3 to 4 foot deep. And that takes a good bit of time. And so while we had the excavator here, they dug some holes for us. Of course, I wasn't here at the time to supervise, so they made the holes a little bigger than we anticipated. But this is just about the size of a small jacuzzi, it seems like.
It's like a shelter in here.
Yeah.
Just put a roof and you can live there.
But definitely this should be sufficient to plant the fruit trees. So we got 26 holes like this dug. You know, a lot of times people wonder, why are you guys planting so much fruit and so many trees? Well, there's several reasons for that. Number one, you won't know how much food you need to live off of until the time comes, right? In other words, how many people are going to be here with us? How many family members are we going to be supporting? How many if times get tough or when they get tough? Second, we are total vegetarians, meaning that we live off the produce of the land. We're not eating animal products. And so for that reason, we like to eat a lot of variety and a lot of high quality produce, which is one reason why we moved from the east coast of the United States to Hawaii. One of many reasons, the biggest one being God's providence. But you know, food that's grown here on a farm like this compared to what you find in a grocery store, there's no comparison. There's no comparison to a pineapple grown here and a pineapple you get at the grocery store. And then in addition to that, there are financial incentives, right? A lot of financial incentives. Who knows how long we'll be here until Jesus comes, right? That's our goal. And so exactly when that will be, we're not certain, but we want to be ready and to be able to live here and to be happy as a family for as long as that time period is. And so with that in mind, we have to keep some things in mind like taxes. Taxes on a property like this can be pretty expensive. And while we can afford them at the present time, perhaps at some point in the future, that might become more of a burden. And so there's ways to sort of protect yourself. Number one, the excess produce that we grow can provide significant income to help pay the property taxes and keep us on this property in the future. And then also, number two, there are incentives by the local government to grow agriculture and have your property in agricultural production, and they will dramatically reduce your property tax bill. And so for all these reasons combined, it makes perfect sense to grow much more than we need and to share with others and to sell and all kinds of things like that. So this fencing here we put up some months back. I think it was like December of last year, and we put it up just to keep the pigs out temporarily. And so it was never intended to be a fence that would remain here, right? And so we're hoping within the next 2-3 weeks that this fence will all come down and go away. And so we're going to replace it with a more professional fencing that we're going to be putting out there. And so we're going to expand this area, fence it out from the pigs, and have a fence that will be of a quality that will last for decades. And that's one of our next projects. You know, some of you might ask, why decades? Well, I don't particularly like fencing. And when I do fence jobs, I would prefer it to last and not have to be like my neighbors who are using inferior materials, and then as a result, they're having to redo it, dig out those wood posts, put in other posts. So that's why we do it with more expensive materials in a way that will last and hopefully be once, and that's it. Initially, when we did the bulldozing, we thought that we might put a fence somewhere out here at some point. But we did some measuring and we figured out that we could fit some really nice extra trees in if we just expanded the fence a little bit. And so while the mini excavator was here, he cleared this area for us, and this will become like a new fence line. This adds, I don't know, maybe an acre, acre and a half to the land that we already have cleared, or at least the land that we already have fenced. And so this will be a lot of beautiful gardens, hopefully, a lot of papaya production. And over here, one of my favorite specialty crops, we're going to be planting a small durian orchard. So this is basically 11-acre property. As of this moment, I think we're up to about 6 or 6.5 acres that are all cleared. And so we'll just little by little expand on that. But for the foreseeable future, I think we'll work with what we've got. We've got to transition from planting to house building and getting on the land to live.
Okay, so this will be the durian forest. Since durians grow so tall, we decided to put them here since we have some tall trees, eucalyptus here, and they won't cover our view of the ocean.
So this is our first durian on the property, and so we're really happy to be back in durian production again. This is Pohakulani, which is a Hawaiian variety of durian, and so we've made a cage. It's actually meant to protect the young tree, and we're covering it for now, but you can see the young grafted tree in here, and hopefully in the near future we'll have many more of these as we can find them one by one. At the moment they're kind of in short supply. So
well, shall we talk about the house plans?
Yeah, let's go take a look at the house site and talk about the house plan.
So this right here is our house bed. It's quite large because we weren't sure what we're building.
You know, the one question that we've had more challenges with than any other as far as decisions to make is what is it that we are building? Of course, it needs to be a home for our family, but what's it going to look like? How big is it going to be? And all of that. And it's very hard to estimate what a home is going to cost right now because the prices of materials are just all over the place. And so nobody has an estimate as to what it's going to cost, and it's almost surely going to cost more than anticipated. And so we're still working on that. But regardless of the circumstances, we're determined to move forward and to live on this land. It doesn't matter whether it's going to end up being a 3 to 4 bedroom house or whether it's going to end up being a garage that we stay in for a period of time. We have the determination to get on this land and to be free of debt and to provide for our family for the necessities of life. The circumstances don't matter. We are not going to allow circumstances to master us. We are going to master the circumstances by God's grace. And so I think that a lot of us are looking out there and they're saying, you know what, I'd love to do that. I want to do that for my family, but I don't know that it's possible. Well, of course it looks impossible. You know, there's like 1,000 different steps that you have to take, and you can't take them all at once. You've got to take them one at a time. Keep in mind that even the children of Israel, you know, Moses didn't expect the water to part until they stepped in the water, right? God told them, step in the water. And once they stepped in the water, things opened for them, right? And so there's lots of challenges all the time. And who knows, maybe this, as a result of this high expenses, maybe it will take me a couple more years of saving through the process to get to the finish line. But regardless, we are committed to taking each step one by one and trusting that God is going to make a way. And we believe that regardless of the cost, whether this costs so many thousand, hundreds of thousands, or whether it costs twice that amount, that God will in time provide a way for our family. And so we would encourage you to consider the same. You know, that reminds me of a very inspiring quotation from the book Patriarchs and Prophets, page 290. I'd like to share with you this quotation. God in His providence brought the Hebrews into the mountain fastnesses before the sea, that He might manifest His power in their deliverance and signally humble the pride of their oppressors. He might have saved them in any other way, but He chose this method in order to test their faith and strengthen their trust in Him. The people were weary and terrified, Yet if they had held back when Moses bade them advance, God would never have opened the path before them. It was by faith that they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land. Hebrews 11:29. In marching down to the very water, they showed that they believed the word of God as spoken by Moses. They did all that was in their power to do, and then the mighty one of Israel divided the sea to make a path for their feet. The great lesson here taught is for all time. Often the Christian life is beset by dangers, and duty seems hard to perform. The imagination pictures impending ruin before, and bondage or death behind. Yet the voice of God speaks clearly, "Go forward." We should obey this command, even though our eyes cannot penetrate the darkness, and we feel the cold waves about our feet. The obstacles that hinder our progress will never disappear before a halting, doubting spirit. Those who defer obedience till every shadow of uncertainty disappears, and there remains no risk of failure or defeat, will never obey at all. Unbelief whispers, "Let us wait till the obstructions are removed and we can see our way clearly." But faith courageously urges in advance, hoping all things, believing all things. My friends, God is bidding us go forward, move our families out of the cities into the country, and God will provide a way. We believe that, and we are acting in faith according to our belief.
Well, friends, we hope you have been blessed seeing our progress, and hopefully it encourages you to continue in your own country living journey. If you're new here and you would like to follow our journey, go ahead and subscribe, click notification bell so you don't miss any of our new videos, and also go ahead and give us thumbs up so that more people will be able to see these videos. And until next time, aloha and God bless.